have to do with the traffic situation in and around Phillipsburg. I know residents and visitors alike, of course, are suffering from the frustration for the traffic situation in and around Phillipsburg. So the ministry, together with the traffic department, we are looking at ways to alleviate the traffic situation a little bit. And one of the things we're looking at is opening the ring road for one-way traffic out of Phillipsburg. We was looking at if we could do a two-way situation, but seeing the situation at the roundabout at the salt pickers, that would create a hazard with if you're using the direction coming into Phillipsburg. So it would be a one-way access from out of Phillipsburg, starting at Ketty's kitchen, straight down to the gentleman that sell the coconuts across from the sports auditorium. And that way we could alleviate the traffic a little and get in around the peak hours, the traffic situation a little bit under control in the Phillipsburg area. We are busy with the proposals. Sketch will be made and publicized how we will go about that. We will rearrange the sandbank situation and also create a few hundred more parking places on the ring road as well. And we would encourage people who are going to do their Christmas shopping and so forth in Phillipsburg to use the parking along the ring road, and then they could walk into Phillipsburg and do the shopping and so forth. Because we know parking situation in the heart of Phillipsburg itself is almost impossible. So that is one of the issues we're looking at. We're looking to address that as soon as possible and to bring some needed, alleviate the traffic a little bit in the Phillipsburg area. Next issue is the stoplights at the Prince Bernard Bridge. We have a situation where we always a quick fix, and then after a week or two, we're back to the same situation. We had a company do assessment of the situation, and those stoplights have been installed, I think, more than 20 years ago. And they reach their limits, and we have to, we did an assessment, and there is some needed repairs that need to be done. Also, the crossroads there are a traffic hazard. So we are busy now in negotiation with a company to do a total refurbish of the traffic light situation and try to get that, and that also will help, especially in the morning hours with the traffic situation there, to alleviate that a little bit as well. So those are the two things we're working as the Minister of Finance indicate. Once the budget is drafted, and so we could look at other projects and priorities that the ministry can carry out in 2016 for the populace.
So during my trip, I met with the director of Cuban Medical Services. So basically, this is the, let's call it the commercial arm of the healthcare system in Cuba. Cuba has developed a good reputation for providing quality health care, and it is free for the Cuban population. But in their hunger for foreign exchange, what they're doing is they're opening up their services, obviously, for other people to use. They've already worked with a number of countries in the Caribbean where patients are referred to Cuba for medical treatment. So we've entered into some discussions about the possibilities of doing that. But they also have an excellent educational system. So we're looking at the possibility of using their educational system to send some of our people there for training. We've also entered into some discussions about the possibility of Cuban physicians perhaps rotating through St. Martin. So these are all very preliminary discussions, but the idea is if we can access high-quality medical services at a competitive rate, and that's what they're saying. They say that their rates are extremely competitive. So I'm going to begin by starting to check references with the countries that are already using their services, see if I can get some feedback in terms of how that's working. And then based on that, we will continue further discussions, and obviously at some point I'll bring in SZV and other players into that discussion. In general, I think the trip was very productive. I think it has a lot of promise for St. Martin, and hopefully it will be a cost savings measure for us. I did take the opportunity while I was there to visit their Clínica Central Sierra Garcia so that they could show me some of their medical services, their CAT scan machines, MRIs. I said, to be quite honest, I mentioned to them some of the questions were about language. All the doctors that I met there, the nurses I met there, they all spoke multiple languages, including English. And I said one of the other questions or one of the concerns was the facilities, whether they were really up to date or if they were older facilities. And I saw that they have a lot of very modern equipment as well. So the buildings are obviously a little bit older, but actually even in the U.S. many times the hospitals are older as well. So I felt comfortable that they do have very modern technologies available. The other thing I did mention is, because internet access in Cuba is an issue, I said, you have people that are coming from a foreign country, obviously in a stressful time period. They want to maintain communications with family. So I said, for me, I know it sounds like a small thing, but I think having Wi-Fi access for patients when they're there in Cuba is critical. And they said they agreed. It's something that they're in the process of working on. So I think it's a viable opportunity for St. Martin, at least worthy of continued discussions and exploration. They have even consulting projects. So for example, they're working at the request of the Prime Minister from St. Lucia in terms of helping to give them feedback in terms of building a new hospital, what types of services. So I think there's many avenues that we can pursue in the relationship. The other topic I want to talk about is yesterday we had a conference. I met a gentleman, he actually had a Singapore model workshop in Barbados earlier this year, which I attended. I've always been very impressed with the way Singapore operates. So the consultant was actually in Anguilla, managed to bring him over here for the day on his way back to Singapore. So again, Minister, cost savings, not very expensive for the country. And what we had was a meeting in a tripartite setting. So representatives from the unions, from the business, and from the civil service, from the Ministry of VSA. And really it was a discussion about what another country has done, how they've succeeded. Singapore has an amazing track record for many of the things that they do. So that Singapore model, I think, makes a lot of sense. The tripartite model is very much ingrained in the way they've developed their labor laws, their foreign immigration policies. And so really the idea was, I think too often people have a tendency to say, oh, that'll never happen in St. Martin, or that can't be done, or... So I felt that by actually listening to somebody and actually being able to ask them questions about how they've done things in another country would be a great way for the tripartite to start working together and get rid of this notion that it can't be done, that it'll never happen. So the fact is, it can be done. There are things that we can do that will free up the labor market that's to the benefit of the people, benefit to the employers. The sense around the room is it has to be a win-win-win partnership, meaning government needs to win, employers need to win, and employees need to win. In the end, if one group feels like they've sort of, beat everybody else, it's not going to last, it's never going to work. So the idea of finding a structure that everybody's happy with, I think, is critical, and that's the tripartite vision.
Bob, I can understand why you're parking so carefully. Of course, when you can get 80% discount on your Be Sure car insurance. But that's overdoing it, Bob.
Are you busy? sure, be sure.
Yeah! Hey, Bob, you're on family vacation. Oh, but your daughter's got the measles. But don't worry about it. With your Be Sure travel insurance, children under 12 are covered for free.
Are you be sure, be sure.
Yeah, for free.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Need a loan that's quick and easy. Island Finance. Up to 50,000 guineas real easy. Island Finance. For education, a renovation. That's no problem. Yes, it's true. That's not all. They're quick and friendly too. Island Finance. Appliances, vacations, even fix your car. You can depend on Island Finance.
That bucket has superpowers. Powers? It makes people suddenly appear. Really? I'm home.
You appeared
It makes people suddenly appear.
at the right time.
Festive feast from KFC. The taste that brings everyone together. So good.
I'm feeling funny, man. I feel like I get a pain in my chest.
I got this.
You sure?
Yes. It's
You
30
sure?
breaths and 2 compression. Give her air.
Oh, Monique, look, she waking up.
No, Fernand. It is not 30 breaths and 2 compressions. It is 30 compressions and 2 breaths. CPR can be done in 3 simple steps. Step 1, check and call. Step 2, press down or pump. Step 3, blow.
I got it now. It's 30 compression and 2 breaths.
Yes.
CAB.
One of the things that I always say, I don't waste energy on if, it's like asking if you win $1 million, what would you do with it? Or if a car runs you over tomorrow afternoon, what will you do? We have sent the decree to the governor. My point of departure is that the decree will be signed. And if not signed, then we deal with it then. I am not focusing on if it is not signed. My focus is on it will be signed. There are certain advices that came for my office, to my office for me to sign off on in connection with elections, and I have not signed them off. They're all on hold because as far as this government is concerned, there will be no election on February 9th, and as such, my focus is not on what happens if the governor doesn't sign. My focus is on the governor will sign the decree.
Now, no one is popular by saying no and by saying, I can't. But this is not a popularity contest that we're dealing with. We're dealing with survival, financial survival. We're dealing with how are we going to keep our house in order? How are we going to have safety and police protection? I think we're going to have to row with the oars that we have. because there are no more oars that we can row with than what we have, and we will have to adjust to the means that we have. So the things we were doing before, we cannot continue to do going forward. That's the sad news that I have, and unfortunately, I'm the one who have to deliver it. But somewhere, somebody has to say, the buck stops here to start with the efforts to make a turnaround. So I met with the CFC, and we had open and frank discussions about it, and seeking ways and means to see how we can overcome this challenge. There's a formula we discussed going forward that I hope I can accommodate and get some kind of reason to this madness. And propose to the Council of Ministers is that there have to be a stricter control on the budget of each ministry. The control has to be, in my mind, monthly. Monthly. Not once a year and then let the budgets be expended, and then you will find out, well, this ministry is over budget and that one has no more money left in their budget, but that there are alarm bells that would go off whenever there is a threat for exceeding the allotted budget to a ministry. So I'm going to propose a method to the Council of Ministers, and I hope that they will adopt it. Actually, they have little choice because, as I said, we're in a crisis. To make certain everybody stay within the budget. And a budget is only a piece of paper saying this is what we're going to do within this framework. But besides the budget, you also have a liquidity question. Even if it's in the budget, do you have the liquidity? And I got to tell you that because the liquidity is rock bottom, that I just signed and requested an overdraft of $5 million to take us until the second week of January, because the liquidity is not there. Even if it wasn't the budget, which budget is not there, because as you know, the 2015 budget was never completed. It was withdrawn because it didn't comply with the CFT requirements. So you're going back to the 2014 budget, but the 2014 budget, you have real numbers for it, and you know right now that that budget was 20 million in the red. So there is no budget. So when I'm told, yes, Mr. Gibson, Minister Gibson, we have space in the budget, they don't. It's not there. So when they ask me to go along with it, I tell them, so I can't. I cannot create something out of nothing. It's not there. We cannot spend it.
So what's your idea of holiday happiness? Watching the kids open presents? Cooking in our new kitchen? The look on his face. Add to your holiday happiness with a loan from Scotiabank, and you could win a trip for two to Miami and other great prizes. Visit your Scotiabank branch today and talk to a representative about getting your loan. Contest ends January 15th. Conditions apply. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
One,
2,
3,
4. This is how common it is to develop a mental illness. 1 out of every 4.
4,
4,
4. But there is hope. Today, most mental illnesses can be managed and treated. Visit your general doctor if you feel concerned about your thoughts and behaviors or have some difficulty dealing with some of life's issues.
If you have been diagnosed and are suffering from a mental illness, keep in mind these 4 points to help you manage your mental health.
1. Get regular checkups with your general doctor.
2. Stay on your treatment plan to prevent relapses.
3. Find a strong support group in your family and friends.
And 4. Never be afraid to ask for help and look out for the warning signs of your illness.
Remember, you are not alone. We are as close as one.
2.
3.
4.
Learn about mental health illness by going to the Mental Health Foundation's website at www.mhf-sxm.com.
The government has not met, the Council of Ministers did not meet with neither the managing director, neither the board to discuss the way forward. As far as I know, there is a process ongoing with that involved decisions made by the previous government based on the outcome of a screening. The managing director has appealed, and the appeal was to be heard by the appeal committee that supervises the work done by the VDSM, the National Security Office. So they conducted the screening, and one has a right to protest against the outcome of the screening, and there's a committee that consists of the judge, the chair of parliament, and the deputy chair of the Council of Advice. The 3 of them meet to review the screening report, look at the methods that was followed, were they in accordance with the laws and whatnot. There is a part of the screening that is secret, and only the judge gets to see that. The other 2 members don't. They are told what is, let's say, what was there. That's the law and that's the procedure. While I am Prime Minister, I do not get the report either. So it is not so that the Prime Minister gets the report and the Prime Minister gets to peruse it and go through it and say, hey, great job, a bad job, or fair or not fair. There are procedures in place that regulate these things. If you want to change them, then we would have to change the laws that we have.
Okay. And last question, Prime Minister, on the Minister of Justice, how far are we on getting one?
How far are we on getting one? We are days away, hopefully, on getting one. And days, I'm having fun with the statement days now, because the outgoing Prime Minister said back then, with the use of Article 33, it says that you have to resign. It didn't say when. Others felt it should be within a day, others within 2 days, and the Prime Minister then took 30 days. So when I say days away, I don't mean it days like between Monday and Tuesday, but I'm confident that the process won't last 8 months.
Given the experience that we have of lawmaking here too.
There are a couple of things that need to happen. Firstly, and that is why I threw out so many, and there are more different areas, issues that you can deal with as part of electoral reform. So I think the Parliament and government of St. Martin firstly need to determine what it is we're going to do, so that not a year, 2 years from today, we're still talking about all of the possibilities. Change the system, increase, decrease the members of parliament, go back to a system where you actually have a shared responsibility. All of these are possibilities. So first we need to very realistically look at what it is we want to accomplish. And once you do that, you can set a timeline, and then again, government and parliament would have to stick to it in terms of seeing that those things that we want to happen. But if we just leave it open and mention all of the changes that can come, 2 years from today will still be, because there's so much that that ties into electoral reform, and we shouldn't be unrealistic. I know we could say change the whole system, go over to a two-party system. I mean, we can go on and on. All of these are part of possible parts of electoral reform, but I think it's important to establish what it is we want to do and then set a concrete timeline so that the actors can be held to that timeline.
Tomorrow it could be all moot point if the governor refuses to sign a decree.
I don't know if it will necessarily be a moot point, but I would, the discussion would have to continue, but then taking into account that the governor did not sign the decree. So I hope differently, and I say so because I am truly convinced, and nothing that has been said has made me change my mind that during this entire process, a derailment took place. I am convinced of that, and I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt until now, but there is no way that the right of a government, not the right of the voter, the right of the government, based on Article 59, that right can supersede the position of the parliament, which are the persons elected by the population. There is no way, and that's where it went wrong from the beginning, and everything went in a tailspin after that.